All right, first guest of the week is here. Here at the big round table is veteran business reporter Dan Mayfield from Albuquerque Business First. Hey, Dan.
How are you guys doing this morning?
Hello, Dan. Doing
Welcome,
great.
welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you. Well, we'll start off talking about some sad news that we heard yesterday.
Yes.
You know, you were friends with Don.
Very well. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've known him a long time.
And
I'm
Don Chalmers,
very
for those
sad
that,
about it.
Yeah, Don Chalmers passed this last Sunday. He had a battle with cancer that he fought for years, and he was probably, I think, one of the best-known philanthropists around town.
Definitely.
Yes.
He was a UNM regent for a while. He was head of the UNM Health Sciences Center. He just last weekend at the UNM Business Competition, he donated $2,500 to students as
Did he
part of
really?
that. And
What a legacy.
absolutely. And he had one full-time person, you know, on his staff,
Yes.
Pamela, who worked really hard. Her whole job was philanthropy and community relations, and I don't think there's another dealership in the state that had that.
No.
And
you talk to Don, one of the sweetest, nicest guys you'd ever meet. He's very unpretentious, very generous, always made you feel special when you're talking to him. His wife Diane is a lovely lady. I'm feeling for her today.
yeah, it's a blow to her and the business community. I think everybody in the business community has a good memory of something
Yes.
Don has done. So, but moving on to happier things this week, there's something going on that we've been following at the paper that is the world of startups. In the last really 2-3 months, it's exploded. Something has happened, and everybody is inspired now. And you've even got some of the startup folks on here later this morning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And everybody is starting a new business. It's wonderful. And it's part of the mayor's plan to make the city much more entrepreneurial friendly, which is certainly a plus. And he's done a lot of things that help new businesses start. But there's also just something in the air. And it was our cover story this week, and we just kind of dove deep into what is going on with all of this. And there is, at the recent Pitch Fiesta, there was 12 new companies that went and pitched their business ideas to investors and financiers up the street here. It was wonderful to see 12 awesome, really great ideas out of the blue that were wonderful.
Right.
You know,
Wow.
and last year they did a similar thing, and there were a handful of ideas, but it easily doubled this year. It's wonderful.
So what are you seeing? What kinds of ideas are you seeing?
A lot of tech,
Yeah.
a lot of tech companies, some biotech companies, some software companies, a little bit of everything.
Now, are they
you know?
springing up organically, or
Yeah.
are they coming in?
No, they're growing from here, and
Okay.
it's an amazing thing. And you know, I think this is part of, you know, I've been here several times talking about the need the city has to diversify the economy.
Absolutely.
And you know, as we're losing federal and government jobs, we need to do something to replace those and bring those back in. And startups are the key to that in really many, many ways. And this week we just found a bunch of them, and it's really quite exciting. I'm loving it, you know, and the entrepreneurial spirit is really alive in Albuquerque.
I like that.
And those
Yeah.
great job makers.
Yeah.
That's it. And you know, there's people who are saying rather than, you know, why do I want to get a real job when I can create a real job? It's
I
part
think
of it.
there's
Oh,
some of
that's
that. There's,
interesting.
there's people that want to live here but can't
Yes.
find a way to get a job and live here, so
Yes.
they take their idea and put it in the marketplace.
That's
A lot
exactly
of these
it.
people are women too.
Yeah, and it's just people. It's just
Yeah, it's just
some
people
of them are
doing
students
stuff.
from UNM, and
Yeah.
some of them are older people who are on their 4th, 5th, 6th startup. It's amazing.
Cool.
I'm loving it, and it's a fun community. If you know of anybody who is interested in starting a business, there are resources out there. Startup ABQ and Startup New Mexico, and then coming up this weekend, this is going to be fun. I might just pop in and see what it's going to be. It's called the Startup Weekend,
Right.
and what that actually is Friday night. If you got an idea, big business, small business, little product, big product, whatever it may be. Show up, pitch it to a group, 40, 50 people, they're going to be there, and see who bites, essentially. And then you form a team with people who are at the event from ideas that didn't get picked.
Okay.
And then you have 48 hours to write a business plan. And then by Sunday night, you try to get a team together and try to make something happen. And it's a very cool thing. And one of the companies I wrote about this week called Sportcast came out of a Santa Fe startup weekend. Guy shows up with this idea of, it's a very cool app where you can tag your friends, you know, making a soccer goal in video,
Oh, nice.
and then put that on Facebook. Rather than having to, you know, you put the video up and you have to edit it and clip it through. No, just hit the button when they do it, and it takes care of everything else. So you can put the highlights up, which
That is smart.
it's totally smart.
Make it easy.
Make it easy. And that And they're already they've got investment from the Los Alamos Venture Fund. They've been at the several big conferences where people have really fallen for the idea. They're getting probably some other venture funding soon. It's a huge company, and it came out of the startup weekend last year.
So it's all about bringing your idea into a venue where there are people who know exactly how to support your business, your idea, and make
Yep.
it a viable
That's exactly it.
plan going forward.
That's exactly it.
I wish I had a good business idea.
Don't we all? Yeah.
And now here's what's gonna
Mine would be
happen.
like effective allergy control.
Yes.
That would be this week.
You know what's going to happen at Albuquerque Business First? You're going to have a full-time reporter on just startups.
I'm almost doing that right now,
I
which
know,
is
you're
amazing.
you're
It's
almost
fun.
the guy.
I'm loving
And
it
it's
too.
so
You know.
great for us to
Yeah.
read about this because for so long we've been New Mexicans, you know, as we're all kind of growing up with our city,
Yeah.
there's less and less of this call to go work for the government or the city or the state.
Yeah.
And that we can go into the business world and thrive and bring New Mexico some good
There are
press,
other
you know?
opportunities and there's other ways to go about it. But now there's an infrastructure there that is allowing people to start. You know, because 4, 5, 6 years ago, it was basically, you know, you want to start a business, you get a pat on the back, and you send on your way.
Yeah.
Now the city has ways. They have the new. It's called the Albuquerque Business Center, and they help you get a CRS number like that. They help you get a business license like that. Anything you need, it just happens. It's great.
That's
And
really
yeah, there's
great.
guys like Scott Maloney who started a software firm here in town. That's awesome. And you know, he came from Living Social, wanted to live here, and was able to start his company here. And he's
Beautiful.
finding programmers here. He's finding people that help him here. You know, it's awesome.
That is
And
awesome.
it's for the first time ever we've had this infrastructure. You know, we're no Silicon Valley yet, but we're getting there.
Speaking of that, let's talk about Google buying
Yes.
into New Mexico. I think this is a fascinating story.
It's fun. I got a chance to go sit down with Vern last week, and
Did you?
Vern Rayburn, who most people know as the founder of Eclipse Aviation
Right.
here in Albuquerque, you know, which was no small feat in itself, and you know, he kind of disappeared after Eclipse was turned into the new Eclipse, and we all wondered where he was going to surface. I mean,
Right.
this guy is an entrepreneur at heart. He's a startup guy at heart. You know, he started Symantec. He was one of the first 9 employees of Microsoft. He was, you know, in the tech world, he was a big deal, you
Yeah.
know? And we all wondered, we knew he had too much energy to just retire or disappear. And then last fall, he shows up as the CEO of a company called Titan Aerospace that is making drones and unmanned vehicles. But they're not your average radio-controlled plane unmanned vehicles. These things were made to fly at 65,000 feet, which is way above what commercial air traffic flies at. And they're all solar-powered, and they can carry a 250-pound payload. And they can fly for a year.
Yeah.
That's the amazing part.
And the purpose of these drones is for atmospheric.
There's a bunch of different purposes. Google, though, bought the company. They won't say for how much, but Google bought the company last Monday after this weird whirlwind 6-day thing. And now it's Google, essentially, in Moriarty. And they're changing the name and doing everything.
Really?
Yeah.
But they're keeping Vern.
They're keeping Vern, and I asked him, "What's your new title?" He says, "I don't even know yet. It just happened." You know, it's such a whirlwind thing for these guys, and so yeah, he's going to be making these. They call it atmostats. It's everything a satellite can do, but in the atmosphere. So when you think about it, satellites are used for communication. Satellites are used for mapping and imaging, generally, and those are the same kinds of things these giant planes are going to be used for. And Google has plans. Many think, you know, they've
One of them
had-
was the internet thing.
one of them's the internet thing where you can
Right.
might as well fly rather than putting a satellite in space or
Right.
putting millions and millions of dollars worth of equipment into a neighborhood that doesn't have internet service right now. Just fly one of these things up in the air, and you've got a perfect satellite for a year that's orders of magnitude less expensive than a satellite, and it beams internet down. Or you can use it for specific Google mapping. You know, when you look at Google Maps and you get the satellite view,
Yeah.
it's great. It's pretty good. You know, it's
Uh-huh.
great. I can see
I
my
saw
house.
Nessie.
Yeah, exactly. But imagine having even a higher resolution camera, being able to see even more on the ground. It'd be amazing fun to do that. So there's a lot of possibilities with these things, and I think Google has certainly come up with a bunch of ideas for how they want to
And they're
use
going to
them.
make they're making them now in Moriarty,
They're-
but they're going to ramp it up, right?
Exactly. Well, what they built one prototype, and the one prototype they have now flew. It's okay. The proof of concept plane works. But the next step is to make a full-size version of this thing. And in order for that many, essentially you need so many solar cells to make this thing work. The thing has to be the size of a 747 jumbo jet.
I believe it.
It's amazing. So they're making it all out of carbon fiber and plastic. It can be really, really fragile because at 65,000 feet, you're not going to hit a bird. You're not going to hit any wind. There's no rain. There's nothing up there to bother.
Just getting it up there.
Getting it up there. And they fly at 20 knots, which is really slow.
Incredible.
They are. It's just a fun thing. And, Vern was able to bring in some Google money.
All right.
I love
That's
it.
gonna be
guy.
something
Yeah.
to really watch.
Thank you,
for.
Vern.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Dan. Good to see you.
Good to
Always
see you guys.
Great
Yes.
stories today.
Thank you.
Give my love to Fozzie Bear.
Oh, my dog
Your
will love
sweet
it.
little angel.
It's the Start Me Up headline version of Albuquerque Business First this week. I'm Larry Ahrens with Amber Hendren and Dan Mayfield, our first guest today. We'll be back with the master networker himself, Stacy Sacco, after this.